Do you see what's happening back there? He's eating my plant. Booking ass as fast as he can. Oh, I just spit. Hey, welcome to Paranormal Spirits, where we share a drink and I tell you a little story or two. And then we pick it apart because we can. All right, so today we're going to talk about an urban legend. And the ghost has perhaps one of my favorite names ever. Ooh, hi, excuse you. I'm trying to film. Okay. He's going to join us tonight. That's Bubs. The ghost we're going to talk about tonight is called, are you ready for it? Huggin Molly. So, pour yourself a drink, join me, and let's discuss old Molly herself. The legend of Huggin Molly takes place in the town of Abbeville, Alabama. I wasn't able to find too much on the origins of Huggin Molly. And I did. However, this ghost is fantastic because she does something that is just completely crazy. Okay, aside from the cat eating the plant behind me, Huggin Molly is a story that I think maybe parents use to help make sure their kids didn't stay out too late. So the story of Molly goes that if a child, or sometimes an adult, was out too late in the dark, that a figure all in black, Molly, would come running up behind them, hug them, and scream, "Ah!" in their ear. And that's it. Okay. This is a ghost with not a lot of ambition. She's going to hug you and scream. That's what's going to happen. And evidently, this is enough to frighten the bejesus out of people in Alabama. Okay, I guess that could be a little disconcerting if someone comes rushing up on you, hugs you and screams in your ear. Okay, but really, nothing more seems to happen than that. But there are some first-hand accounts of people who have experienced Huggin Molly. So one account of Huggin Molly was told by a Marion Glover Leonard, who was an Abbeville native and who celebrated her 96th birthday in 2012. More power to you, Marion. I don't know if she's still alive, but hey, you made it 96 years. Congrats. We should all drink to that. So Marion tells the story of her neighbor, James Robert Shell, who became a doctor and worked at the Shell Clinic in Abbeville. James Robert Shell encountered Huggin Molly when he was a teenager walking home one night. He was walking to his home and discovered a large black-robed, hooded person was coming up behind him. And so, of course, he was terrified and began to run. Now, as he started running, this large, black, hooded figure followed him and began to match his gait, coming up behind him. As he got within about 100 yards of his home, his mother, and her mother's intuition, began to sense that something might be wrong with her son. And so she came to the door and opened it, and she saw young James Robert Shell, who she called Robert. She saw him running and this hooded figure chasing behind him. And so in order to give him encouragement, she said, "Run, Robert, run." I don't know if that's encouragement or scaring your kid, but this is what she went with. So she's holding open the door and she's saying, "Run, Robert, run." Robert's booking ass as fast as he can to get in the door. And he made it. These are the laziest ghost stories I've ever heard. Huggin Molly. Yeah, he made it home just fine, survived. This black hooded figure chasing him and lived to tell the tale. And story goes, he would tell it to anyone who was willing to listen. So evidently, even though he was a doctor and probably saved lives throughout his career, this is the one thing that really made an impression on him. So, I mean, maybe there's something to Huggin Molly after all. He didn't want to get hugged. No. Who wants to get hugged by someone they don't know? And then have them scream in your ear? I mean, that's not cool. There is also a modern reminder of this dark hooded figure of Huggin Molly in Abbeville. On May 8th, in 2010, on Yada Abba Day, which I don't know what that is, but it's something in Alabama. Oh, it's to celebrate the town's history. Yada Abba Day. I don't know why that has that name. Miss Sylvia Beasley Clark, who was a retired teacher. She was leading guests through the cemetery, and she was telling stories about the people who were buried there. And this was the first historical cemetery walk that had been done in Abbeville. And so, Miss Beasley Clark was probably having a grand old time telling people stories about all the dead people buried there. During her presentation, Huggin Molly stormed through the cemetery, surprising the visitors who gasped in astonishment. But I don't think anything else happened. Okay, this is kind of a boring ghost story. Like, if you're going to have an urban legend, don't you think it'd make it a little more exciting? But it sticks. It sticks. Okay. Hey, if you're in Alabama and you know about the story, tell us a little something below if we're missing something here, because it's not adding up. It's really not. The story of Huggin Molly persists. Molly comes racing up, as I said before, hugs you, screams in your ear. But nobody seems to know who Molly really is. There's a couple of different theories. There's a dog now. Welcome to the animal episode of Paranormal Spirits. Huggin Molly's where it's at. So let's think about this. I think Huggin Molly might be a drunk ghost. It's kind of the realize the irony. It's kind of the equivalent of a drunk person coming up like, hey, in the bar hugging you. Like, nah. This is what Molly does. But hopefully Molly's not going to come after me for saying that. So if you're in Alabama and you happen to experience Huggin Molly, write down in the comments. Let us know what's going on with Huggin Molly. Thanks for joining me. I hope you have a great night. Stay safe. Have a drink. Relax. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.